Opa! Welcome everybody to Stavvy's World. 904-800-STAV. I always forget. It's a Jacksonville area code. We just got to say stop at the end, so I always forget. Anyway, call in. We'll solve your problems. I'm very happy to have on the couch this week, we have Miele and Carmen Lynch. Very funny comics. Me and Liz, I mean, it's crazy because I feel like you would come to Baltimore, like Maryland, really just kind of randomly. You were like a comic from New York that would just do gigs in, like we just met when I was like really pretty early on in comedy.
I think I've known you 10 years.
Yeah, at least, for sure.
Yeah, because my older sister went to GW.
Yeah.
And she's lived in like the DMV area for like 20 years.
Oh, wow.
So
okay.
there's a lot of people that almost think I'm a DC comic because I would come like 2-3 times a year because I was had a couch to sleep on.
I remember, yeah. You would come and it was cool because it was like, these were really, I mean, the open mics that I started in were really dog shit. Just really bad stuff. Yeah. Old Uncle Dave. Yeah. Uncle Dave. Eldest remembers Uncle Dave.
Oh, yeah. He's a cool guy.
Oh, man. The local Maryland, like, open mic, like, these people had egos because they were open mic bookers. And it was, like, crazy how insane. But they were, like, compared to New York open mics, you could actually do. There were people there, so it was like
that
good.
Small room at the Arlington Draft House.
That was awesome.
That was like awesome with like Randy and Andy, and then Ramin had a bunch of good rooms.
Shout out to Ramin Mustafavi.
He has great rooms. But is Uncle Dave the one that was like in the back of that restaurant? Or like, do you know what I'm talking about? Where you go down some steps?
Almost all of them were in the back of a restaurant, down some steps. Everything, like I started in a fish restaurant, followed by a wings restaurant. Like there was all like, but yeah, he was just like, he just had a bunch of I mean, they were good, whatever, but it was just cool because you would come down and it was like, when you start doing comedy anywhere but New York, just someone who's been to New York, you're like, oh my God!
She's a hero.
She probably knows Conan O'Brien. You know, it's like
I interned for him.
Yeah. It was like we were such comedy nerds, and you were a good comic, and it was cool to see you because it was like, oh, this is awesome. But it was like anyone could just like other people who were worse at comedy would just come and pretend. They were like, it was like it was funny to see people have like ego trips and be like, because you know they were probably failing here, and they would come down to Baltimore and be like, yeah, it's tough up there, but it was cool. You were always awesome, and you had great advice, and it was cool to watch you. And then that's how we also met because you guys have been friends forever, right?
Yeah,
like
truly. We were roommates too,
which is so fun. That's like I love on the show to have people that have their own. Because it's always fun to tap into a different like friend vibe onto the show.
It also made me laugh because he emailed me. He was just like, would you want to do it, Carmen? I think you guys were roommates or your enemies. Just let me know.
I was like, I remember you guys were connected somehow.
I'm like, that bitch?
Well, I wrote, I hate her, but fine.
Well, it's always funny because people it is very volatile because 90% of the time it's great and people are pumped. And then 10% I ask that and it's like, nah, I can't do that right now. And it's like clearly some horrific falling out has happened. But yeah, it is cool. You guys, it's awesome to have.
So how did
roommates.
we meet?
I think just through
Liz.
Like you would, because she figured out like, oh, there's no good comics in Baltimore, so I'm gonna bring my friends to be able to headline these. So it was cool. You were like, you had like a little. I met a lot of good comics, but yeah, we probably met again one of those horrible.
Yeah.
You know, these promoters would just like pay a New York comic like $300 to like headline or whatever, and it was just like, you know, so it was cool. But
I still do those.
Yeah. No, they were fun. They were fun. That was, and I did meet a ton of good comics. But yeah, it is crazy to be like, oh, I definitely feel getting old because I'm like, oh, I have like decade-long memories that feel like they were yesterday. That's new. You know what I mean? Where you're like, that was 10 years. This person who I feel like I just met. It's like, oh yeah, that was 1 decade ago, or that was. I have 20-year-old memories, and that's fucking wild for me.
I think also in this like business, like
Carmen and Liz, we're thrilled to have you here in the same room that I am. But before we keep talking, I just wanted to tell you about an American-owned company with over 100,000 happy customers. That's right, the Freez Pipe. Visit thefreezepipe.com and use code Stavvy for 10% off your entire order. Pipes, bubblers, bongs, and more. No matter what you're into, there's a chili solution at thefreezepipe.com. Use code Stavvy for 10% off. Now, what were you gals saying here in New York City?
I think I saw Carmen the second show I ever did.
Whoa.
So we didn't become friends.
Crazy.
Already stalking me.
Yeah. But it was at Rose's Turn. Do you remember Rose? It was at Rose's Turn, which is this bar in the West Village that had a really high stage. So she's already 6 feet tall, and then it was this high stage, and I swear she was like a unicorn. I walked in and I was like, oh my, I'm too young and too tiny to be here. Like I literally, it was like so.
There's an 11-foot tall woman on stage.
Who's that giant?
It was so intimidating, and then over the years I heard her name, and then we became friends and roommates. But it is like I have a very strong memory that the second time I ever did stand up, I saw Carmen.
Interesting.
The weirdest part though is when you see people who started after you and they're starting to look old.
Yeah.
And you're like, how old am I?
No, totally. I feel like I do that. That happens a lot. I feel like I have caused a lot of existential crises because I keep looking like shit. I'm just like don't take care of myself, and like I feel like a few people remember me from like, oh, because I used to open for Bobby. Like we had Norton on here, and I was talking about like how I liked him when I was a little kid, and like for a guy like me to be like, I loved you when I was a little kid, you must be like, oh, I'm on death's door. Like that's like I trigger a lot of those, but yeah, it's and you guys have both. You're supposed to be out for a while, Carmen. Queef Week.
Yes.
Yep. Great name. Anytime you can sneak queef in there, I think that's perfect because it's just not like us. It's just like dirty enough to not get. But YouTube doesn't understand it, maybe.
Well,
and so you slide through.
I had someone look up queef to make sure that it was okay.
Queef due diligence.
Is queef okay? And then it's on Mark Norman's podcast, and he loves that word. He
loves saying queef.
So we looked it up on his page, and he has a video that went viral that says queef. Sure. So we were like, it's fine.
It's perfect.
It's fine.
I think it's just walks the line just right. You know?
I love our business though. Yeah. Like, I had a really busy week. I had to research queef. Hey mom, I can't talk right now. I'm doing real research.
I'm missing the recital. I have to talk to a queef expert. I have to talk to a queef Google expert.
But the funny part is I'm doing the Spanish one and people are like, well, what's queef in Spanish? Mm-hmm. And they don't have a word.
Right.
So it's Queef Week is la semana del pedo vaginal. Which is the week of the vaginal fart. Which I'm like, I'm not going to.
That's right after the running of the bulls, right? It's kind of like the female equivalent. These guys just running from women queefing. Can you keep your hat on while every woman in Barcelona queefs at you? Yeah, and then you win. You get to kill them.
So wait, what did you name it? If you're
just Carmen Lynch en español because I want people to know that.
You didn't want people to think it was a porn?
I didn't want people to think that that's like my Spanish as a native.
Yeah.
Because it's not perfect.
Right.
Yeah.
So if they're like, what's wrong with her Spanish? She talks like an 8-year-old because I lived there till I was 8.
Right.
So they're like, oh, it's en español.
Yeah. We get it.
Yeah.
We get it. That's interesting because and you also have a special coming out, but I do want to. Yeah. That's also fun because you're like a crypto foreign person. Because you just look like a white lady, you know? And it's like, but you did have, and Spain is also just a fascinating place because I'm like, it's sort of like, I mean, it is foreign. I mean, Greek is the same way where it's like, but I feel like Spanish people have less of a like defined, like, there's no like stereotypes. I think part of it is because everyone thinks of Spanish because of like Latin America and America mostly.
Yes.
And so it's like, no one really knows what Spanish people. Everyone knows that you say, it's fun to be like Barcelona or Ibiza, and that's all you know. And then like, so it's just like interesting. But let's also plug your Murder Sheets.
Yeah, Murder Sheets
coming out. What's the date?
April 2nd.
April 2nd.
On YouTube.
Love it. Watch it. It's probably already April. It's past April 2nd, Eldis. Is that right? Or is it?
It's about a month. It's about a month today.
No, it's not. We're
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Anyway, no, it's okay. It's all right. No,
yes, it's out now. It's out now. Gotta pull up the schedule.
So well.
It has a gazillion
it's actually
views.
You can leave. Actually, it's the most.
And she's also doing it in Spanish.
Yeah. El Barcelona.
El Barcelona. That's really well done. So. Wait, I didn't realize you lived. I knew your mom was Spanish, but I didn't know you lived there till you were 8.
I was born in America, but we lived there because my dad was in the Navy, so we lived there until I was 8, and then we moved back.
stationed there? Is that how you met your mom?
Stationed,
Classic.
yeah. Well, he met my mom in Barcelona off a ship. He was on a ship, and that's where I did my Spanish special. Was where they met.
Whoa!
So that bar is still
that's
there.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's weird.
And she's looking for her husband.
Yeah,
he never showed up.
That is a classic. Like, just meet a lady in a foreign country and then just.
He stole her.
Bring her back.
He did. And she didn't even speak. They didn't speak each other's language. I'm serious.
That's awesome. That goes to show you, like, what was important to your father in a relationship. Like, perfect. No, I can't even understand when she's complaining. She's hot. She'll fuck. We'll fuck. I could at least hand signal, let her know when I'm trying to smash, and everything else. She'll make some paella, and I'm good to go.
Well, they only went out 4 times in about a year and a half. So it's funny. This came up during Dan Soder's podcast, and that's all we talked about for like an hour and a half. Yeah. Because there are these letters that they wrote each other in between those 4 dates. And we were like, what's on those letters if they don't speak the language? Yeah. And we're like, stick figures.
Your dad traced symbols. His penis. He's like, cover your tits in charcoal and press them on a big sheet of paper and send them over.
But it's like there's no Google Translate.
There's
so like,
nothing.
Like, are you going to the library and you're just like trying to figure out what she's saying? And then there's also just the idea of like, I don't know, like, dudes don't even text back. And they're writing long letters that you have to like get translated.
It is wild. Funny. There used to be, you find like, if you read some book from like the 1800s, it's like platonic friends are like, I long to feel to grasp your hand and draw the same breath as you. And now it's like, sup, what you up to? Like 1 a.m., which, I don't know. It is funny how quickly it's deteriorated. It hasn't taken long. Everything's like much more visual. I guess when you didn't have pictures constantly, you had to like use your brain and write shit. You had to be
creative.
But that is so interesting that they would write letters and I guess have a friend translate.
My mom had a friend the night they met. My mom had a friend with her, and she translated.
Oh, interesting.
So somehow it worked out. They're still together.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's insane. How old were they?
When they got married, they were 28.
Oh, okay. All right, that's actually
like old,
which is really old back then.
I was gonna say that's actually. Yeah. I was about to make fun of them because it's like, oh, they're dumb children. They're like that came up on. We were talking with diversity, and I'm trying to write a bit about this where it's like, my whole life, it's like you want to everyone's like takes relationship advice from grandparents really seriously. It's like, oh, they have so much wisdom. But then you think about it, it's like these are people that probably married the first or second person they fucked. And it's like, they don't know shit.
Or not even fucked.
You're
You know
right.
what I mean? Literally showed up on time and they're like, I like that one.
Yeah. I know. It's like they just didn't know shit. They just had no options. Like, it's not a coincidence that as soon as Facebook started, so many people started cheating. Everyone, when they like,
they would look up their exes.
It was like 50-year-old people were having affairs. It's like, no, your grandparents didn't know shit. They just didn't have the opportunity to cheat. They just didn't understand how to do it. It was too like complicated.
It was too hard, and now they're like, cheating made easy.
Yeah. Anyway, that is interesting. 28 is like, that's so. All right, maybe I guess they were both desperate. I don't know what it is, but your mom really wanted to get to America.
She wanted to leave her family.
Yeah. It is always funny because sometimes situations like that, you're like, oh, they just wanted it. Like, they did want to leave their family. They wanted to get out of like wherever they were, and it's like that feels opportunistic. But then it's also like, but if it works and everyone's happy, who cares? Like, it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice to find, and it's almost a romantic where it's like, oh, this person was like my ticket out. I love them even more, not for who they are, but what they provided for me. And then I'm sure it's both, but you know what I mean. It's just like,
but it does get hard later. Like, my sister did the same thing backwards. Whoa. So she went to America, fell in love with a Spanish person, and moved to Spain.
Wow, that's fascinating.
And it's pretty crazy. And my therapist says it's not a coincidence.
No way. Of course not. Your therapist?
Yeah.
Anybody who's ever heard that story
really?
can tell you that. Yeah. You think that was just random happenstance?
I mean, I find it like, I don't know. My mom went through a lot when she did it because she couldn't be near her family.
Right.
So when my sister did it, it just kind of triggered my mother. Like, what are you doing?
Well, it's almost like,
I left for a better life.
Yeah. I feel like it's gotta be like, She probably, because I definitely relate to my parents came here from Greece right before, like a few years before I was born. They came in like the 80s. And my dad, I was born in 89, they came here in 82. And my dad has complained my whole life about how like I'm away from my family. Like it's kind of, he just likes to complain. And I could totally see your sister probably being tired of your mom complaining about how hard it was and then being like, watch, bitch. Like, shut the fuck. It's not that hard.
Well, in a way, she was like that because we had email. There were flights.
Oh, true.
She speaks fluent. My sister speaks fluently in both languages. My mother didn't. So she was like, I got this. But now she's going through it because, my parents are old. And she's like, you know.
But what is actually really interesting, because I know your relationship with your boyfriend moved from LA to come be with you in New York. So everybody in a relationship did some kind of voyage.
Well, he says he did it for his son, but I always give him a hard time. I'm like, and a little bit me. Yeah. But anytime he's at a party, he's like, well, I moved back for my son. And I'm like, what?
You're like cutting yourself in a corner. You're like, okay.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's hilarious. Yeah, that's fascinating that everyone's moving, but you're staying put. You're not going anywhere.
I tried to leave, but I just don't like it anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, awesome. I always come back.
We're forever roommates.
Yeah.
When did you guys? What was how long we were like roommates?
We were roommates for 3 years, and it was
like 5.
5 years.
Yes, because I had just gone through that breakup.
Yeah, we used to go on double dates, and then my boyfriend dumped me, and then she like held me, and then 2 years later she broke up with her boyfriend, and she was just like, I think I want to move out of my place, and I was like, I have a place.
Yeah, it was so creepy because I was like, I think I need a new environment, and then it was like, ring, I have a room. And I was like, did she kick out a roommate?
I love her so much. This is my favorite part about Carmen, though. So it was a 3-bedroom. And it was like a medium-sized room, but you lived by yourself for like 11 years. So it was a big change for her to like come live with somebody. And I show her the room.
Oh, yeah.
She goes and talks to her therapist, and she goes, my therapist says that I should sleep over to see how I feel. And I was like, we're girls. I was like, let's have a sleepover. So I planned like a whole weekend for us. I was like, we're going to the beach. We're going to go for a run.
Like, can you tell I can't make decisions?
Yeah, that's insane.
My therapist is like, try it out.
Yeah, you're on a recruitment visit. Liz is like rolling out the red carpet. It's like, that's not what life is like.
We didn't know each other that well.
No, I mean, we used to go on,
a little bit.
No, we used to go on, like, we were friends, and we would like go on double dates. But you know how like comedy is, where like at first you see somebody at a show a couple of times, and you're like, oh, they're funny, they seem nice. Yeah. And like I like almost asked her out to become friends, because there was one week where we had like 4 shows together.
Right.
And when we would always walk to the subway together, and then it would be like, oh, well, I'll see you around.
It is nice.
You know?
It's like you get to almost like micro-dose friendships with people.
Yeah.
Because it is intense. Like those hangs can be intense. Like there are people that I have probably spent cumulatively 4 hours with, but I've known them for 12 years. And like I know like when their parents died. And it's like, it's not like you really get into it. Everyone is just open to it. And then you're right. It's like, sometimes those can be you're like, well, let's hang out outside of it. And it's like, wow, this person rocks. And then another time you're like, oh, I've made one of the biggest mistakes of my life. And now Ian Finance is my friend forever. And now I can't shake the fucking guy, no matter what.
But I remember when Liz was like aggressive in a good way.
I'm an aggressive friend.
She's like, do you want to go for coffee? And do you want to go do this and see a movie? And I was like, I'm the opposite. I'm like, if they want to be my friend, they'll just come over.
Sure.
It's really bad. It's passive.
I get that.
But I courted her for quite some time.
She courted me.
Yeah, and then we went on double dates together. And then she had like a small thought about moving, and I was like, I have a room, come over, we'll have a sleepover, there's no ghosts, please be my roommate.
Yeah. You guys are a great, like, you're a classic friend couple. Like, it's like a classic, almost like it does feel like it's like a cartoon thing where it's like the little spunky one, the tall aloof one, you know what I mean? I mean, me and Eldis have me and Eldis are basically the red and yellow M&M, so I know what those relationships are like, where it's like, you know.
I mean, Carmen like pretty much saved me, but like I'm very angry. I'm like a tiny chihuahua just ready to fight, and Carmen's like, hey bud.
Yeah.
But like it's gone the other way too. Yeah. Like you've saved me.
I mean, we've definitely balanced each other out. I had a therapy chair. I literally just had this chair I'd had for like 15 years, and both my old roommate Chris and Carmen, they would knock on my door and they'd be like, can we do therapy chairs? And I was like, oh yeah, buddy. And they would just rant about like Chris was a photographer, and he would just like rant about models, and like Carmen would come in and be like, I hope this booker dies, and I'm just like, okay, let's work it out.
You can tell who had the big room.
Right.
I had a therapy chair, guys.
I love it. Yeah.
But it was. I mean, it was probably one of the most important because it was 10 years into my career, and I was. You know, I think we all hit that kind of place where you're just like, I don't know, like either I'm going to quit or I'm going to figure it out.
Right.
And I don't think I was on the verge of quitting, but I was on the verge of being bitter.
Totally, because there's definitely a time where you're like, it's not fun anymore. It is your job. And then when you're like, well, it's this thing I used to love. Now is my career, and it's not going well. So it's not fulfilling me like it used to when it was like a hustle. Now it's the thing, and then it's like, oh, it's my source of income. There is definitely that point where you're like, oh, am I going to live like this forever? Like something has to change. Basically.
Well, at first it feels like you're on a high.
Yeah.
Like you discovered it. I remember I didn't even mean to do stand-up. Like I was living in New York. And I was like, what's this for acting?
Oh, cool. Okay.
And I was frustrated because like I'd get a call back and the guy was like 5'2". And I was like, I'm not going to get this.
Yeah.
And then I went to a show and I was like, oh my God, I thought people on stage were just funny all the time. I didn't know they wrote jokes. Like I knew nothing about stand-up.
Yeah. People still like, so you just make that up every time. It's like, I'm on the road. I do like 6 shows a week, and you think I do 6 hours of improvisational being hilarious?
They watch Mrs. Maisel and they think people just walk on stage and just go, I had a horrible day, huge laughs.
Right. Yeah, stand up and me. Anyway, sorry to cut you off, but so you're on the callback. Yeah, so you're like.
So then I decided to do stand up, and I was like, what's this? This is amazing. And then it was this like I got married to stand up without even like I just it was a high.
Yeah.
Which is funny because the last time I felt that high was when we came back from the pandemic, and I was like, oh my God, I haven't felt this good about stand up in so long. I'm like hugging comics I don't like. I'm like, come here, bud. Like, I was so happy for like 2 months just to be like indoors and telling jokes. But for me, like 10 years in, I had to actually because I was so miserable that I had to figure out what was making me I like couldn't figure out why I was upset, and I realized because a girlfriend of mine that was like not a comic, like I knew her from high school, was like, well, if you hate comedy so much, why do you do it? And I was so mad at her because I was like, I don't fucking hate comedy. I love comedy. But it made me realize like I love comedy. I love the puzzle of joke writing. I like getting up. Everything about comedy is great. The business makes me suicidal. Totally. Just genuinely, it's like constant rejection, and it doesn't make sense. And you know, the pettiness and the sadness of being like, but I did what they did. Why are they there? And like and I couldn't.
And all the sociopaths you need to like. Oh my God. Any entertainment thing, it's like so many people are like. So they like look like if you can't help them, they're looking past you. It's like you meet some really great people, and then even the great people are wildly mentally ill. And the only ones who aren't mentally ill are sociopaths that are just like, how can I get this next thing? And like, how can I use a person for it? Sure. I get that. I totally get it.
And I think when you're a genuine person, you're just constantly getting hurt. You know what I mean? So I felt like somebody would ask me for something and I'd be like, they want to be my friend. Like I was a puppy dog. You know, I chased Carmen. Like anytime I got you. Come here. Every time somebody talked to me, I was like, oh, they want to be my friend. And then they would blow you off and you're like, oh my God, I'm a loser. Nobody wants to be my friend. I'm bad at this. Like,
or some creep is trying to fuck you for sure. I mean, that's for women in comedy.
It's so many stories about that because they would always go after Liz.
Yeah.
I don't know if I just scared them, but I was like, never their target. It was always Liz. She'd come back and she'd be like, so-and-so wrote me. And I'm like, leave her alone.
Dude, I won't say say who the comic was, but one of my strongest memories is I was at Caroline's and I was hosting and Joe List was featuring and I went to go shake his hand and he held onto my hand and Joe goes, not this one. And I was like, oh, Christ.
Oh, my God.
And I was like, what?
Jesus, yeah. No, it's brutal. So when you guys are like 10 years, so you're saying you're at this point and that's when Carmen was sort of like came in and when you were struggling with all that stuff.
Well, we were living together and it was actually when her career was taking off, and that's such a hard place to be in where you're happy for your friend. This is like a big moment. I'm aware that it's a big moment and I'm miserable. So you're like smiling and she'll be like, how are you doing? You're like,
bad.
And I would like hold it in and I'm better now with therapy, but I wouldn't say anything and there'd just be this moment she'd be like, how are you? And I'd just be crying at the kitchen table for like 2 hours. I don't understand how she continued to ask me how I was.
I could see it in your face. I was like, we need to talk. And it was the therapy kitchen too.
Therapy kitchen.
Because I remember
therapy apartment.
There were moments because I think I got Letterman while we lived together, and that was the first one.
And it was like it was one of those moments where like because there was so much there was actually a lot of scandal around Letterman where it was like they weren't booking female comics and like
Eddie Brill or whatever
and she was the first female comic they booked afterwards and she murdered like there's just like with you know how it is with your friends like you couldn't be more proud
happy
and excited.
You're actually happy
but you do it is also hard in this business where all of a sudden you're like nobody's taking anything away from me, but it's just very obvious I'm not there either. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And it's like, how do you maintain these friendships? And it took real work and real therapy to be like, I want to continue to be friends with people and be proud of them, but I am struggling to be a mature adult about this. And it was really, you know what I mean? Like that was over 10 years ago. And I think this business, you can go one or two ways where you can grow as a person or you can go down that path of being a psychopath. Well, I think I was on the psychopath path, if I'm being honest.
Well, I was going to say, give yourself some credit. I'm sure the rest of your life was going bad too. At the time, like it wasn't just your career, you know. I'm sure everything else was going bad too, you know. Bad relationships. We've talked about her family. You have a weird family too. You have like a bizarre family also.
That's valid.
You have like a jacked old mom, I remember.
My mom is jacked.
Yeah.
Oh my God. She's so badass.
My mom's pretty dope. So I'm one of 5 kids. My mom got into she got into CrossFit and then powerlifting. So she's like,
at what age?
50s is when she started to do CrossFit, and now she's in her like late 60s and she powerlift. Like my mom was a competitive powerlifter.
That's awesome.
I think she can deadlift like 320 pounds, and she's like not too much bigger than me. You know what I mean? Like
I think she should be your security guard.
Oh, I joke about it all the time. Absolutely. She's incredible.
So wild. Yeah,
it's really impressive. But like she was also scary as a kid. So it was like one of those things where I was just like, what? Well, I'm glad she got fit later.
Right.
You're like, ooh. But I mean, I'm one of 5 kids. There's so much mental illness in my family. So it's just like one of those things where like I was very scared that I was going to lose my mind, and I was very aware of it, and I never told anybody my feelings whatsoever. And it's so weird because I think we all are pretty honest on stage, but you would get off stage and you wouldn't say anything to anybody. Totally. And I think it took me a long time to like people would be like, you're so open. I'm like, I'm so open, and then realize I've never told a boyfriend a feeling. I've never. It took me so long to realize that I could be one way in one situation and another way in the other. And I started comedy really young, but I was quite immature emotionally and I think creatively for a long time. So I do feel like it's taken me a while to like catch up.
But I also think you're very mature because there are moments where like Adrian and I, it's like the 3 of us a lot. And we are like, Mom, what do we do? You know?
Well, that makes sense. That checks out. Like having 3 people taking 2 people, one person takes turns just being the responsible one, and then it's like you only have to be responsible a third of the time because the other 2 are kind of
for sure.
Up the slack.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times I'll call up Carmen, I'll call up Adrian Appalucci, and I'll just be ranting, like just fuck this person, and it's it's bad when Adrian's like, I think you're wrong. She's like, I think they're actually being nice, really and it's a real wake up call where you're like, I might be overreacting.
Adrian Appalucci, for everybody, done really funny comic also, but also a person that I would say usually would want like vengeance.
Yeah.
So if she's the one who's like
calming me down,
it's
the problem.
Yeah, that is. So like when you guys were roommates, what was the main dispute? Was there ever like a living dispute? I was always the messy one. Although I would get pissed off because Eldest was the second messy. So we've been we've been friends forever, and we had it was me, him, our friend Christina, and a comic that Ryan Shutt actually, and Christina and Ryan were like clean
tall,
people,
right?
tall.
Yeah.
Ryan,
Also from like Baltimore
yes,
area.
from
I
DC,
remember Ryan. Yeah.
And Christina and Ryan were like Christina was messy for a girl, which means she was the cleanest one in the apartment, and Ryan was pretty like orderly, whatever, and I definitely was the slob, but Eldest was not that far behind. But he would take cover in that. It all of a sudden, when it's time to clean up the apartment, it's like 3 against 1, and it's like, let's relax, Eldest. You're just not as bad as I am.
I could do my dishes just a little bit more than stuff.
Yeah. And also, he was more aware of the dynamic, so like he knew when Christine was about to explode, and he would conveniently do a dish on the day we're about to get yelled at for it not being clean.
I believe these dishes are clean.
Yeah. Anyway, so that was I would always get pissed. I would always literally bring that up when everyone was talking. I'm like, look, I will clean more, but I need you to yell at Eldest a little more. I just need in this conversation him to take a little flack right now. That's all.
I mean,
I don't know.
I think it was Chris that was the problem, honestly.
Chris is great.
Oh, he's wonderful. And I lived with Chris for 11 years. And it's funny because he lives in the apartment I moved out of still, and he has 2 different roommates. And the girl that took my room is the messy one. So now he's apologized to me twice because I don't think I realized, like, I'm a pretty clean person. I'm not like 100%, but I would say I'm at like 70% clean. And my roommate, because after she left, I lived with my sister's best friend, John. So John was like, would do the dishes, but like was kind of dirty. And Chris was like, this isn't my problem.
Yeah.
And I would be on the road. So, you'll be on the road for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
We had a dishwasher, which is like magical. And I'd come home to a pile of dishes and I was like, guys, we have a dishwasher. And, you know what I mean? And it's like, I shouldn't have to wash a plate when I haven't been home for 3 weeks. And that's where I would lose my mind. And so I love these people. These are my friends. And I kind of got myself down to like where 40% of clean was what I did, what I was okay with. And I would explode at anything less than 40%. And then I moved out and I live by myself now. And I don't think I realized how much I was suppressing like my cleanliness because it's like so important to me. And I didn't.
Interesting.
But you learn dynamics where it's just like, is this fight worth losing a friend? And
you pick your battles. It's like a relationship. But I think for us, we didn't really have like issues. I'd say
we had like little friend issues,
but we don't.
I don't think we had roommate issues. We'd have
interesting.
The only main roommate issue we had is that she had this wonderful cat, Pasta.
Pasta.
Rest in peace.
Pasta. I loved Pasta. Pasta was my first pet because I never was. No one. My parents were like, "You're not getting a cat or a dog." So Pasta was like my baby when Liz was out of town, but she was like only when Liz was out of town. She was like, "Oh, you're good enough now."
Right.
Fuck you. She like whined in front of my door.
For Pasta.
But she was great.
And we had a web series, all 3 of us, called Apartment C3, which really, I mean, it was a training ground. Like I learned so much about like editing and just like sketch writing and like working with others because we work by ourselves so much. But one of my favorite silly memories is, we had 1 bathroom and I was in the bathroom. My cat,
one bathroom's brutal.
Yeah, and if
one bathroom, 3 people's brutal.
Especially
for sure.
2 girls.
Yeah, for sure. But Pasta would usually be in the bathroom with me, but I think I had to pee and I shut the door and Carmen took a picture of Pasta sitting outside the door and
waiting.
And she was like, God, the bathroom line is so long today.
But she would literally be just like, wait for Liz.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think I was triggered by that attention. I'm like, what about me, bitch?
We had like a sibling rivalry.
That's
with my
hilarious.
That was my cat.
That's so funny too, and it's like we had 2 bathrooms here, but remember the era when the main bathroom was perennially, it was like you never knew if it would flush.
Yeah, totally.
Remember, there was like a time where that would just get clogged, and it was nothing you did. It was just like every 400 flushes, it was getting clogged.
Yeah.
And we never...
You're like...
And it was never like a system. Yeah. We were never like, well, this is no one's fault. We should all pitch in. It was always like, I clogged for you, dickhead. You gotta clean it. And then it wouldn't get done. And then we would just be like sneaking into the, I think was it your bathroom at the time, this one?
No, it was Christina's.
Christina still lived here?
The other one's
yeah,
in a room.
yeah. This used to be a main, this used to be the the master bedroom. Yeah.
That is one thing that I just, there's something that makes me gag. I cannot unclog a toilet.
Yeah. Well, don't be friends with Eldest. Literally, the new place I got a place in Baltimore. The first time he was like, "Hey, can I use the bathroom?" He was like, "Hey, man, I think I'm gonna go walk and buy a plug." We didn't even have it. We had just moved in. There was no furniture. Eldest had clogged it before we had a couch in the house.
It was more noticeable. You don't have a plunger in every bathroom. There, I had to walk to the basement, grab it from there.
I love the idea that he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna get a coffee and a plunger. Anybody need anything?" Anybody?
Thank God the new place has a hysterical amount of bathrooms. So Eldest is welcome at any time. But yeah, he is the man has clogged more toilets, and we don't know what it really is.
I feel like in that area you're talking about, we also went like hilariously long stretches without having a single plunger in the apartment too.
That is true.
Which is like, why are you playing that game?
I don't
why
even know.
Why are you doing that?
Yeah.
They're like $5.
It was brutal here, man. It was like, I look at pictures that were taken in this apartment, and I was like, oh my God, that's what it looked like in here? Because like, we've made it kind of nice now. We bought like nice furniture, but it was like, remember that fucking disgusting IKEA couch?
Oh yeah.
That gray couch that we got used.
Yeah.
It was my bed when I was subletting somewhere.
Yeah.
Some girl, it was her bed that Christina used to live with.
Yeah.
And then it was like just our couch. You broke it. We just didn't fix it for like a year. It was a very funny
I do like
time.
everybody's like first couple of years in New York City because it really is like, hey, don't sit on the right, you'll slide right off.
Yeah,
Like there's all these little rules. Hey, don't use that bathroom, it clogs. You can pee in the sink, but only a little bit because you haven't done the dishes. Like
cold or hot water, do not use the warm water. Do not put it in the middle. I do not want to tell you what happens with that. Like it was, this place was so hilarious. But it also sounds like you guys moved together at a fun time where it was like you're going through a breakup. It's almost like how Stella got her groove back time. Like that's a fun time to have, because if you're living alone, that's a fun time to have roommates because it's like almost like a second like adolescence kind of vibe where you're like, it feels like a party here.
It did feel that way because I was living in New Jersey.
Oh wow!
So moving to Brooklyn felt like cool.
That's hilarious.
But I think the other reason I asked my therapist what should I do is because I was going from living alone for so long to moving in with three of us.
Yeah.
And that
One
just
bathroom.
felt like,
Yeah, like am I being stupid about this? But it's interesting because it was such an important time in my life. Like it was one of those things both like but you know what I mean? Like
we never made out either.
I know.
Yeah.
But like
seems like a missed
now
opportunity.
I'm taken.
But it was we were both single. We were both kind of trying to figure out comedy. We were both 10 years in, and like just both being like, I don't think we're bad, but we're definitely not great. You know what I mean? And it's such a. I think that the biggest thing is people don't understand what a career comic is, right? Like you know who famous people are. We know who our parents like watch, but like this middle ground, and like now it's getting even wishy-washier with like YouTube and TikTok and all that stuff. But this middle ground of like making a career but you're not famous is just like this place where like it was so hard to explain to other people, and then I'm like, am I making up this path? Like So I think just having a support system and like having somebody that I could come home after my long 20-minute day.
Oh, that was the best.
You know what I mean? You just bombed or somebody just blew you off and you just feel so bad about your career, and you could just sit with somebody and they like either understood or they like, I think we both are pretty good at pep talks.
Yeah,
and I think
pep talks fun.
Yeah, and we're actually very alike. And in some ways we're not, but in some ways we're very alike. And it's just, we actually lived together before social media too. Like it was like Instagram started when we were living together.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we have a little bit of that, like, where are you going tonight? How are you going to promote it?
Yeah. That's so funny. And I mean, I know you're saying, Liz, about like that But I don't know if it's the good news, but I think people understand it more because just the middle class in America is disappearing for everyone.
For sure.
It's like people get it now because it's like, yeah, you're either rich or you have to work at Amazon and piss in a bottle instead of for no money.
But you know what's interesting? The pandemic actually gave me a lot of perspective because, all of us got into this career and every single person was just like, that's pretty risky. What are you going to do? That's not going to work out. Da, 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 da. And then the pandemic happened and people with good jobs got laid off and couldn't work. And I was just like, oh, that's weird. I got Zoom. I'm doing corporate gigs on Zoom.
Yeah.
Like I did pretty good during the pandemic. And
podcasting took off in a crazy way.
Oh my God.
Dude, like
I was doing shows in a playground.
I think I did that. In Fort Greene Park.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what was so great about that is this is a humble brag, but I had just done the Tonight Show, and I was like, now I'm in a playground.
You gotta love that, though. That was hilarious. Yeah, I know. It is. I mean, everyone just did. It is a reorganization of things going on, but whatever. Yeah, it is interesting that I definitely think things. I mean, I remember when you were talking earlier about like not knowing what you want to do or whatever. I will say during the pandemic, I was like, oh wait, I am the happiest I've ever been.
Yeah.
And like I am really struggling with the like, do I want to do stand-up comedy? Like I do, but it is ruining my life. There's no way around it. And like this year is the best example where it's like I had a great year. I was very lucky with a lot of different things, but I was also like the least healthy. Like the more successful I got, it was like ravaged my health, ravaged like my relationships with people. I was like, I was happy at the end of the pandemic when I was just like grilling every day, going on like long walks, like going outside, going to the park and shit. And I'm like, should I just
retire?
Just like quit? Yeah, should I just be a podcaster? Which sounds horrible. Like I say it and it makes me want to throw up. But I am like.
But when you're in that moment, it feels right. I remember going, that was a good run. What am I going to do next? You know?
Like, do you ever go to, like, so I have these fantasies of, like, should I just go to fucking Greece and just, like, live by a beach and, like, I probably have, Greece is pretty cheap. I probably have enough money for a shitty island life. Yeah. Like, not the good islands, but I could go on the ones no one's, one, like, gay people haven't discovered yet. I could be, like, no gay people, no, like, rich sheiks that go to Mykonos or whatever. Like, I go to some little secret ones.
You're at a place where, like, because, like, it used to be like I had to constantly be on the road because I was like paying my rent like $100 gigs at a time.
Yeah, sure.
And now I try to do every other weekend if I can. And then just there's a natural lull during the holidays and there's a natural lull in July. And that's when I kind of do nothing. But like my dream for me personally is to tour like Jim Gaffigan, where it's like 3 months where you tour kind of in the middle, then you're off for a couple of months, and then like another 3 months, and it makes sense. Like my tour
and
looks
bring
like
your 5 kids
and bring my 5 kids.
Yeah. Well, you need more Hot Pocket material.
I'm
it's on your vision board, but I haven't heard a single thing about being Catholic. I haven't heard like there's a way to get here, Liz.
But I guess what I'm saying is that you're at a point in your career where you can make your schedule the way you want to. Do you feel that you're in scarcity mode? Because I
don't know. I guess I haven't thought about it. Yeah, there's a little bit of like you're scared when shit starts going good. You're like, well, if I stop, it'll go away a little bit. Like that's the fear. But also like, I don't know. At this point, I don't really give a fuck about that. And now I'm like, I need to fucking. It's like I gotta get healthier. Or like,
for sure.
Because if I see, because like there's so many examples. It's not even like it would come out of the blue. It's like every fat comic dies. Like it's not like this wouldn't be a surprise. There's no like everyone who gets fatter the more successful they get, we know how it ends. And it like if you add heroin in the mix, it ends quicker, but if you like it either ends like of an overdose or it ends in like a tour bus where you have a specially made bed because no hotel fits you anymore. Like those are the two options. So I'm like, all right, let's just chill a little bit, but whatever, we'll be fine. It'll be. I am. I don't
want to be when they show a clip of you dead. This is what they show. All of a sudden, I'm like, and she smiles. I'm like just smiling as you talk about your death. The His friends didn't care or warn him.
No, that's what the show's about. Please, we don't have to talk about comedy. Let's talk about more morbid things we've done, the dumbest things we've done,
My
most
landlord
insane.
just died.
That's cool.
And he's Greek.
Oh, so it's a tragedy.
I didn't know so much about Greeks until I've been living there with my boyfriend for about 6 years, and he brings food over all the time.
That's the vibe.
Everything has so much salt in it.
Yeah.
And but so cool. He would just knock, leave the plates on the stairs.
That's awesome.
Because he was like 75.
Yeah.
And then we would just run down and get the food.
That's so sick. Yeah, Greek people love doing that kind of shit. They love like the feeling of family where it doesn't really exist. They love like oversharing.
Yes.
Becoming pretending you're closer than you are. Like that's all classic stuff. But
and they always offer drinks too. They're like, he's like, you want a little?
Yeah.
And then my boyfriend doesn't drink, and he's like, And I'm like, he doesn't drink.
Yeah. He's gonna have a relapse.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. That is, yeah.
But I was gonna say, because like I'm Italian, and I do think the Italian, Greek, and then even Spanish, it's like it's all kind of like both visually, like we all kind of look the same.
Well, Spanish gets like Italians are way overrepresented in media. Can we stop? Yeah, can we stop with all the pride? People are too proud to be Italian. It's over the top. Greek people are in a nice place. Yeah. It's too much. It's like I love mafia movies, but literally, if The Godfather and Goodfellas don't exist, I do think the world's a better place. We have to listen. To less Italians fucking pretend they're in the mob and whatever. Yeah. And Greek people, I think we're in a nice place where it's like everyone knows a Greek person. Everyone's been to a diner. It's like a little fun, like, you know, we're like a sour cream and onion chip, you know? It's like, it's not chips, we're not everywhere, but it's like fun when you find it. Whereas like Spanish people, I feel like no one knows anything about the culture, about like, I don't even know,
but don't you feel like it's because there are no, like I know there's Spanish people here, but they're mostly Latino. Like when I do like a Latino festival, it's always like, where are you from? Where are you from? Where are you from? Where are you from? Spain. Oh.
Yeah. You're the conquistador.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're the oppressor. You're the ancient oppressor.
But yeah, there's like usually most shows in America and New York that are Spanish are Latino.
Yeah, it's almost like the Spanish people are the only, like Spain is the only like colonizing force that actually got like penalized for it. You know what I mean? Like Britain doesn't, but it's like, because Spanish people are like,
anywhere you speak Spanish, you're like, sorry.
Yeah. It's like no one respects the original one. Yeah. It's like you guys have been sort of your empire has been like completely erased in a weird way, where it's like England and like, you know, whatever. It's just like it's interesting. It's like I don't know anything about. I'm sure there was interesting ancient Spanish shit. I mean, I guess that's why Greece and Italy probably, it's like the Roman Empire, the Greek Empire. It's like, I guess Spain just kind of got swept. There's no, I mean, you did have, I don't know, there's just not enough ancient shit. Maybe people love ancient shit. That's part of it. I mean,
there is ancient shit. I'm really bad with history, but.
Yeah.
But yeah, usually it's like, oh, Barcelona's so pretty. And then people just stop talking about it.
Yeah. And I mean, I was in Barcelona for 24 hours, so I know a lot. But no, I mean, that's the only, because when I tour overseas, it's like, I want to feel like I'm somewhere else. Yeah. And like the architecture in Barcelona, you're like, oh my God, I'm somewhere else. And then you go to Madrid and you're like, this is anywhere in Europe. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I think depending on where in Spain you go, do you feel like they have culture?
I don't know. I've never been, you know, and I'm interested in, I do kind of want to check it out, but it's just like funny talking to somebody who is Spanish. And it's like, yeah, I don't know anything about actual Spain.
It's gorgeous and the food is amazing.
Yeah, I'm going to go. I'm going to go this.
You should go to like a flamenco show.
I love it.
They're also like, have you toured Europe?
Not really, no.
You should do it, man. It's like, honestly, like,
it's really fun.
There's like, honestly, there's like 6 comics that do it. You know what I mean? It's like me, Carmen, Dave Hill, Todd Barry, Judah Friedlander.
Right.
There's like a handful of us that like, you know, clearly famous people, but like on a small level, like I do like 100-seaters and it's, I mean, I'm going in May. It's like my favorite thing to do.
It's really fun.
That sounds fun. Yeah. It sounds like a little vacay that you get to call a work trip kind of thing.
And you're like, you'll be surprised, like, especially because of the internet, because of like Instagram and YouTube and stuff, like I mean, I started touring Europe like 10 years ago, but you do accumulate a lot of people that come out and see you, and you're like, oh my God, like I've never been here before, and 150 people came out to see me, and you're like, how do you relate? You know what I mean? You're in like Vienna, and you're like, how are you? Why are you laughing at my bullshit? This is insane, and it really is. Where I started to kind of build self-esteem and really did start to build my career 10 years ago was going out to Europe and just being able to see the world. Because like we all go to Ohio every year and we're like, why? Why are we here?
It is brutal. It does suck.
It is pretty funny though, because like I went to Berlin and Vienna last year, and something happened at the airport in Berlin. There were no flights. So we had to take the train to Prague and fly from there. And it sounds so braggy. You're like, and then I had to take the train to Prague.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, that's really what I had to do.
It also is weird how close everything is in Europe.
Yeah. Totally.
It really fucks your like sense of like how, it's like a day trip to go to 2 countries away.
But I took I think it was a 4-hour train from Prague to Vienna to do shows. I was in first class and it was €35. And I was like, am I a hero? Like, this is insane. Like they're like offering me sandwiches. I was like, give it to someone in Coach. I like,
wow, good for you. But redistributing your wealth.
No, I'm out here. I'm a hero. But I don't know. That had been both the best thing for like my comedic self-esteem to be able to realize that I was universal, but also just even this, if I've peaked, if this is where the farthest I'm going to go in my career, like my parents have never left the country, and I've been to 40 countries and told jokes, and people paid money to see me. And like I've been to Italy, like at least 4 or 5 cities in Italy, and my parents have never been. You know what I mean?
Take that. Keep fucking doing deadlifts.
Jersey.
What's that passport look like? No, I know what you mean. There is just, I guess really what it comes down to is there is something to, like success in whatever will not make you happy is like something you hear when you're a kid and you're like, well, I grew up poor. That can't be true because I'm not happy. My parents aren't happy. I'm sure if they were maybe a little successful, we'd be happy. It's like, no, not at all. Like it won't. And it's like, that is true where it's like you want to find the life you want. And it's like, yeah, that's what makes you happy. It's just doing the stuff you like. The fact that you can support, as long as you don't have to worry about money, as long as you can support yourself and you're living a life that is fulfilling, that's kind of the thing that I'm trying to get to at this next level where it's like, okay, shit went better than I even thought, right? Like I thought all I wanted was to headline B clubs.
Yeah, Funny Bones.
I wanted to be exactly. Funny Bones, my alma mater, Magooby's Joke House, 2012 Comedian of the Year. Not no brag at Magooby's Joke House, not to brag. But yeah, so it's like, but now I do feel that way of like, let me just live a life that I'm like, yeah, this is fulfilling and nice, and
and it's so full of surprises too, like. We both went to Pakistan like the same year, different tours. That's crazy. And it's like, hey, how was your trip? Okay, what? We're going to Pakistan?
Yeah, what's the Pakistan gig like?
I mean, it's the worst food poisoning I've ever had in my life. Just so you know, I lost 5 pounds. But it was incredible. Like that was the thing, is that like they take you to do like a couple of open mics just to kind of get you ready before you like headline shows. And there was one that was all women that were like asking me questions and like were just like so excited that like there was a female comic doing like jokes and stuff. But then you would be in the audience and there's women that are completely covered from head to toe laughing at your jokes, and you're like, this is wild.
Yeah, that's insane.
It was such a cool experience. That's like, I'm not gonna vacation in Pakistan. Like there's no
well, you can, because someone is in the truck with you with a giant rifle.
Oh, dude,
like we went to McDonald's, there's a dude with a gun.
Holy fuck.
It is insane. Everywhere outside the club there was rifles. Outside your hotel somebody's holding rifles. We actually, when you do a tour and it's women and men, they have to put you in a hotel that's shittier because the good hotels are for only men. And I was like, what?
Yeah. We had that. Yeah. No, our situation, I was with Will Sylvance and another comic from overseas. I forgot his name. But Will and I stayed in one hotel, and then this other comic
the woman in the black eye. The woman in the black eye had to stay in the bad hotel.
The other comic had to stay in another hotel because he brought his girlfriend and they weren't married. So when Will and I would check in, he'd be like, I'm not with her.
Yeah,
and I'm like, stop saying that.
That must have been refreshing for Will to be like, finally, a place where being a woman is worse than being black. Like, no, this is riffraff. I'm not with this riffraff, this female riffraff. I don't know her. Yeah, that's insane. Yeah, the dudes only hotel is so funny.
That's
because it's also like, even in a patriarchal society, you're like, wait, the guys get like a higher thread count and better lotion. It's like, shouldn't it be the other way?
My landlord, my Greek landlord, for Christmas one year, he always gave us gift cards, which I know is weird to get like a gift from your landlord.
Yeah.
But my boyfriend's was $120. Mine was $100. And I was like, what the fuck? It was crazy.
That's hilarious.
But the only other thing is like whenever there was something due, like the electric bill or whatever, he would always give it to him. And I was like, good luck with that, buddy.
Yeah. See? At least with Greek chauvinism, there's some perks.
Yeah.
You're going to pay for any of these bills.
Yeah.
One year, he got a gift card and I got this wallet. It was definitely like a re-gifted wallet. And I was like, what the fuck am I going to do with this old lady wallet? That was probably like his aunt's or something.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. It sounds like what you could use is to smoke weed out of a very cold bong. Lucky for you, we're sponsored by The Freez Pipe. That's right. Our friends at thefreezepipe.com, that's the website, have the best selection of bubblers, bongs, pipes, whatever you want. They got them all, little joint chillers they even got. They got them. If you're tired of coughing, if you're tired of harsh smoke, just really ruining your weed enjoyment, go to thefreezepipe.com for fuck's sake. And we love in fact, I'm going to go to thefreezepipe.com right now. And I don't know if you guys noticed, the secret is they have glycerin chambers. You pop them in the fucking freezer, smoke it a little bit, give them a couple hours, whatever. 1 hour, that's all it takes in the freezer. And the smoke will pass through and it will be instantly chilled. It's like Sub-Zero himself blew on your blunt. Let's go to thefreezepipe.com here. Oh, interesting. They have a big picture of Shane Gillis and a huge quote that says, it's kind of dangerous. You literally don't feel the smoke. It works, man. Freez Pipe is something I can personally stand by. Now, I know Shane is doing much better than me. The man's selling out arenas. Very funny, but we can't even get it. All right, let me scroll down. I'm sure we're somewhere here, Eldis. Oh, let's see here. Barstool, Uncle Joey's Joint, Two Bears, One Cave, Kill Tony, Herb, Matt and Shane Secret Podcast, High Times, Flagrant. Oh, okay. Flagrant 2, Bill Burr's Monday Morning Podcast, Dope as Yola, Stavvy's World. So, okay. All right. I take it back. Now, I'm sure we've gotten some. Now, to Freez Pipe's credit, we probably. Has anybody gotten as high with your product on their podcast as us, Freez Pipe? All right, I shouldn't turn the ad into me wanting more free pub. I don't even know what I want. My picture on the front. I don't even really want that. But that's how much this product means to me, folks. It hurts me personally that I don't have a picture of it because you've seen me on Kush Brothers, our Patreon exclusive. I've even that one time with Austin on the free episode, I smoked it on YouTube. I risked my YouTube terms of service to smoke weed with Freez Pipe. That's how much I love this product. And I think you will too. So listen, folks, if you want to support an American-owned, and that's big. When I'm getting high as shit with smooth smoke, it matters to me. By the way, American-owned, they don't say where they make it. Well, that's neither here nor there. What's important is the tax dollars from every purchase is flowing right back into Uncle Sam's coffers. And that's what's important. It's over 100,000 happy customers. Visit thefreezepipe.com and use code Stavvy for 10% off your entire order. pipes, bubblers, bongs, and more. No matter what you're into, there's a chili solution at thefreezepipe.com and use code Stavvy for 10% off of the entire order. It cannot be any more clear how much I love this, and sorry to lose my temper, Liz and Carmen. I apologize. You know what? I love the Freez Pipe. We'll give you gals a couple Freez Pipes on your way out, and everybody at home, use the code Stavvy, get 10% off. Now, what were we talking about? I love it. Well, we've only scratched the surface. There's both hilarious stuff to talk to you guys, more stuff to talk to you guys about, but we should take some of your expertise. Clearly, you're both big therapy guys.
Yeah,
you know?
big into therapy.
We
can fix you.
Yeah, yeah. And let's take these perspectives. We got some questions to get to. So, Eldest, why don't you play some questions here for us, pal?
Avi, Eldest, what's up, guys? Love the podcast. I've been binging all the old episodes since I found it. Absolutely hilarious.
Thank you.
So I'd consider myself fairly bisexual.
Nice.
And I've had this best friend. We just graduated college together. We were friends way before college. We essentially left the same religious cult. So there's a lot of trauma bonding there. And I think she's the person I've been most vulnerable with and shared the most about, like, my inner traumas and issues and stuff. And essentially a week ago, she approached me and said that she's had a crush on me and asked me on a date. Now, initially, I was like, we can all empathize with having a crush and not knowing what to do when you're close to them and you don't know what to ask. So I sort of felt bad. But I was going to reject her because I'm not attracted to her.
Hell yeah.
Now, after I rejected her, it sort of shifted to, like, her using everything she knows about me to try to get me to go on a date with her.
Oh, that's
so
bad.
she'll say things like, you've only been in toxic relationships, so you don't know a good thing when you see it.
Oh, no.
I feel like that's kind of manipulative. I don't know. I don't know what to do. I think it's going to be weird to hang out with her. Did I just lose a best friend? What do I do, Stav? Help me out. Oh, also, bear in mind, she lives directly across the street from me. And we will live there for a while. Thanks, Stav.
Damn. Well, you know, this is kind of like, I feel bad for our caller here. She's in a bad situation, but it is almost like, feels like society is moving forward where even women can be like incels to other women. Like even like this. Girl, is like
you don't know how good I am.
Yeah. It's like it's
You've never had a clit like this.
It really is like, this is bad for you, but it is like, it's almost always an ugly guy getting rejected by the girl he's been pretending to be friends with for years to try and fuck. So she's breaking the glass ceiling in that regard.
Well, what's kind of interesting is her being like, you've only been in toxic relationships, you don't know what it is. It's like, you just gotta have a cult. You don't know what good is either.
True, yeah. You don't know shit either. Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, it's
an easy one.
It's so easy.
It's like, walk away.
Yeah.
Right now.
Because like the truth of the matter is like, it never feels good to get rejected. And I don't know how old she is. So it's just like, I know that we get rejected with comedy all the time, dating and stuff like that. It takes a while to like be able to be like, hey, whether this is about me or not, it doesn't matter.
Right.
But like, if I say no and you can't take that answer, I don't know what to we're not going to be friends, dude.
Of course.
Like, that's not okay.
Yeah, it's like, even it's pretty hard, I think, in general for a true friendship to recover from a rejection. But if it does, it's like, they ask once respectfully, they take a shot, you say no, and they legitimately go back to treating you the way things were before.
Yeah.
This girl has already not done that. This girl has already not taken no for an answer. She's behaving like a Fedora Reddit guy right now. and like, that's the thing. And look, also to her, you both had a weird upbringing. You trauma bonded. Like, there's a lot going on here where it's like, even this girl might just have some kind of weird psychological attraction to you, that she's also physically attracted to you. This is just messy in general, where even if you were attracted to her, I'd be like, this is kind of weird and a red flag. Like, I don't even know that this is necessarily a good idea in any context, but specifically this, I think all you can do is like firmly say, hey, we can't bring this up anymore. You're really important to me as a friend, but if what you want is is not platonic. All I can offer is something platonic, and we should maybe take a break from even just being friends for a while until things sort of settle. I think is the way to handle it.
This is actually a gift, because to know that you're toxic even before you start dating,
right.
to know that you're the wrong person even before you start is actually really good. A lot of times we don't figure this out until we're 3 months, 6 months, a year in.
Until you love the person.
So say thanks to her and walk away.
Yeah.
But also, my last thing is like, I don't think you can lose a best friend. You know what I mean? They just never were. You thought you were close, but you're not.
Yeah.
So I think I've learned that some people are in your life just to get through a moment, and you've run the course. And then a true best friend, you go through multiple versions of yourself.
You guys never made out, like you said. Yeah.
Don't make out with your best friend.
We need to join a cult.
Oh my God. We're gonna make a cult. We're gonna
And the other thing is, like, you both might need a completely fresh start. Cause like you escape the cult, you're like, you come this weird religious background, like, whether you like it or not, you're also both kind of a link to that life. And I'm not saying you can't ever have a relationship, but it's like, it might be good for you just in general to completely unplug, untether yourself from any reminders of that life.
Yeah.
Find who you are, just completely separate of that, and then like see how you're feeling. But
or just kill her.
Yeah, just fucking send her back. Tell the cult where she lives, and then be out of town for 2 weeks. But yeah. You got to get out of here. There's no exactly. If you didn't lose a best friend, if she's acting like this, you just lost someone who's been trying to fuck you for a while. What else we got, Big Eld?
What's up, Stavvy baby and LB? I got a problem, or not a problem, but I've been with a girl for almost 8 years now, coming up on 8 years, and this last few months, I happen to inherit basically a mansion, 4,000 square foot, ginormous fucking house. I've also had testicular cancer, so I only got one nut.
Oh, but you're good?
And that one nut doesn't work.
Okay.
I do not come anything out my dick.
Thank you for using technical terms.
While I'm, sitting around, not working, not doing anything, looking at this ginormous house, just makes me want to be Hugh Hefner. That's all I want. I just want to be a fucking Hugh Hefner. I should love to have 4 different OnlyFans bitches just running around this house, take care of everything.
Time out. Hold on.
Well, I just...
you're not rich, right? You didn't buy this house. In fact, you probably can't make the tax. Can you afford the taxes on this house? Like, this is anyway. And the one nut thing is such an interesting wrinkle. It's like, because you can't get anyone pregnant, you think like that's, well, since I can raw dog, of course I can't get anyone pregnant. This is, do you have we can finish, but do you have something you want to interject?
There's no furniture in this house.
Yeah.
I agree that this is an empty house that he was like, you want to fuck on this futon?
There's a huge TV, I'll tell you that much. There's a giant TV, there's a PlayStation 5, but yeah. Go ahead, let's finish this bad boy up.
She's just running around this house, taking care of everything, paying all the bills.
They're paying the bills?
While I just walk around in a nice kimono, making coffee, smoking blunts.
You're not capable of doing that.
But I do love this girl. I mean, we've been together 8 years. I mean, she cuts my fucking toenails. Like, I love her to death. I wouldn't want to leave her, but I don't think she's gonna, be along with the idea that I should be Hugh Hefner.
What are you talking about?
That's so much.
I want some advice, Stavvy. I just want to know if maybe I should go down this route of being Hugh Hefner.
Stop saying Hugh Hefner.
Stay with my partner and live our life the way we have been. Appreciate the listening, Stavvy.
Oh my God, can I take this one?
Please, you can take your first crack at it.
She needs to leave you.
100%.
My advice is to her.
Yeah, can we cut to her?
Give her your number.
Yeah.
She needs to. Oh, Jesus,
this
dude.
is crazy. This sucks. This guy. I honestly do hate this guy because it's like, okay, first of all, I don't know, man. It's like it's one thing to have this like weird little fantasy of like, look, whatever, you're beaten off and you want to pretend you're Hugh Hefner and that, but what do you think happens? Like, what does he think having 4 women? Hugh Hefner was a billionaire. Like, you inherited this house.
Magazine.
He had a magazine. He
had a robe.
Yeah, he
afford a robe.
He already had a nice smoking jacket. Like, let's say you had all the resources in the world to do this, right? It's still kind of a set. Do people, when they think of old age Hugh Hefner, do you think people speak of him with respect? Or do they think like, man, that was fucking sad that old guy went out that way? Like, it's just like, that's not a dignified life. It's a fun, look, would it be a fun couple months of your life to live in a huge house with a bunch, you're essentially saying you want to buy prostitutes, I guess, like you want sex workers to live with you. I guess you think you're going to hire them, right? Like, you're not saying you have the fucking Rasputin-like charm. Because basically what he's talking about is, like, he said paying the bills, like, they're taking care of him. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You think you're going to be a pimp to hot women who also fuck you because your aunt who invented something 80 years ago didn't have any kids and left you a fucking house? I just, the like level of
delusion
and like weird like entitlement is just crazy. I just don't even know where to begin here. And it's like, you have a person you've been with for 8 years and you're like, well, should I stay with her or what? Create the first nude magazine in the 60s and become a cultural icon, have billions of dollars, and have 4 women who, by the way, since then they've had like
every single woman has come out
tell all like memoirs that are like, it was living hell.
Yeah.
It was weird. It was creepy. I felt like I was fucking my grandpa. Like, none of this is good, man.
And none of them cut his toenails.
Yeah.
In every contract, they leave that out. They're like, I'm not doing that.
So I guess I am really wondering, like, what do you think? Part of me feels like maybe he inherited more. Like, it does feel like he might have some money here.
Sure, but even if he does have money, I mean, there's like, this is like immature. Like, this is complete immaturity. I have somebody that he can say it. I genuinely love her. We have a great relationship, but I have this fantasy. And it's like, sure, but maturity is deciding, do I want to build a life with somebody or do I want to live like a fucking teenager? And it's like, if that's what you want to, if you want to live like a teenager and smoke blunts and I don't know, fuck people that are half into you, by all means.
Right.
That's going to last like 3 days.
It's not that bad. That's not a horrible life. It is pretty fun for a few years.
Some people need to grow up.
Does anyone cut your toenails?
Hey, maybe I'm starting to see things his way all of a sudden. But no, you're absolutely right. Where it's like, I guess you're right. I'm tripped up on the fact that he even thinks he deserves this. Like, that annoys me because it's like, you just inherited a house. But it's like, even if you could pull this off, it's an empty, shallow life. And you're just like, now maybe he is like unhappy with the way his life is. And the only way he can even conceive of, he can't just be like, do I want this relationship? Am I actually happy in it? So he's like, oh, it's either this or I'm Hugh Hefner. Like, maybe he can't just have a quiet moment of introspection and be like, oh, I inherited this. I have for the first time in my life financial security. And it's like, maybe is this changing the way I feel about my relationship? And should I think about these things? But he can't. Yeah, the way he's thinking about it is very childish and like, you know,
he's using the testicular cancer.
That's a fun one too. What does that have to do with anything? We didn't need to know that at all.
Yeah.
The only thing I can think of is that he literally, because he can't nut, he's not scared of getting someone pregnant. That's the only thing I can think of.
Or he's looked death in the eye and was like, I deserve bitches.
And then listen, but he didn't make that argument, right? He didn't make that. Yeah. He literally was just saying, I don't come out of my dick. That was what he thought we should know. Not like, and after wrestling the Reaper, I think I deserve to have a 5-way with 4 strippers. That's not what he said, which I might be more sympathetic towards if he made that argument. But yeah, his like the pride he has in the house he didn't earn, and the complete contempt for like the 8-year relationship is weird. So I don't know, man. You got a lot of shit going on. Your whole way of thinking's fucked up, and we do feel like your girlfriend should leave you.
I mean, these last 2 emails both are like run.
Yeah. That's true. One was the caller, one's the
what I've learned from therapy is that when you start reaching out, like researching on the internet, reaching out to friends, asking questions, you kind of know the answer.
Right. Absolutely. Right? A lot of the times when people call in, most of the answers are like, have the conversation with the person you've been avoiding.
Yeah.
Almost like 80% of our calls are like that. It's like, have that hard conversation. And it's like,
I'm going to talk to a man I've never met before and tell him my problem. This is the solution.
So for you, buddy, it feels like you need to do a little more thinking about what this desire is the root of, because it's really impractical and childish, and I don't even think you believe it. I think you're trying to half be funny, but half are asking for advice. So really take a look at like, what are these feelings? What is making this fantasy happen? And like, be honest with yourself. And are you having doubts about this relationship? Are you having doubts about something else? I don't know. If we were talking to this guy in live, it would be one of those calls where we break down how wrong they are immediately, and we actually get to like what the root of the problem is.
Have you been to therapy?
Yeah.
I'm really proud of you.
You break things down well.
Yeah, you really do.
I've been to a lot. I mean, I actually just got back in the mix because that's part of the last year where it was like, not only was I getting like, well, it was like gaining weight, but it was also like I just stopped therapy because I got busy, and I was like, oh, I'll reschedule. And then I looked up and it was like 1 year, and I was like, oh, fuck. So we're getting back into it. But yes.
I'm proud of you.
You stink right now, but hopefully there's something underneath here. Hopefully, there's more than meets the eye. Because if our surface level read of you is right, you're just kind of a dumb piece of shit.
I want him to blow his life up and try it because he clearly doesn't have the swag to
He doesn't have the sauce at all, no. What's going to happen is a woman is going to steal your social security card and like you're going to get, it's going to be so bad.
Or they're going to like use his mansion to save money on like OF, like, like house rentals to like shoot scenes and shit. He's not going to be like getting sucked off left and right. Like
not at all. Not. He might get a couple begrudging hand jobs. What else we got, Big LD?
Hey, Stavvy, Eldis, and esteemed guest/guest. Thank you for taking my question today. So I'm in a bit of a predicament with my girlfriend of 1 year and 3 months. For context, I know you always ask. I'm a 28-year-old male. Mm-hmm. So what happened is basically she's had this problem with, someone who used to be in my life in a romantic way a long time ago, but no longer is. This individual doesn't even live in my state anymore. And this person texts me every once in a while. She'll like text me during like holidays or during on my birthday or something and say, and they seem like perfectly innocuous texts. You know what I mean? Like, oh, how are you doing? Happy birthday, Merry Christmas. It really has put a bad strain on my relationship with her because she doesn't feel, trustworthy with this person. She being my girlfriend right now, and basically like. We've pretty much agreed that I need to either set boundaries with this person, with this other person, or cut her off entirely. Burn the bridge, cut her off, never speak with her again. And I mean, look, I will confess I'm not the hardest guy, you know what I mean? I'm not like the toughest guy in the world. I think I'm a little too nice, admittedly, sometimes. How would you go about it, Another thing I need to add is that she recently texted me and asked, "Oh, what are your New Year's
Pause this
plans?"
for a second. I can't even like this is pissing me off. Come on, man. Your girlfriend is so right, it's insane. Like what do you think a happy birthday, happy Thanksgiving, happy Christmas text is? It's always trying to fuck your ex. That's the way in every time.
It's dating 101.
It's so clearly like simple. They're giving you the like before Instagram stories existed, that was the Instagram story. Where it's like now it's like a heart on an Instagram story is like, oh, interesting. Whereas like if you get a response to Happy Merry Christmas, you're like, Oh, I got the response. Interesting.
Yeah.
My ex-girlfriend, she got a boyfriend between Thanksgiving and Christmas. I got a happy Thanksgiving. I did not get a Merry Christmas text. That's the thing. Is this girl dating someone? Like, I know you're asking how to go about this, but I just need you to understand how right your girlfriend is and how these texts like this from an ex solely exist to try and fuck you one last time. Because, like, there is a little bit of, like, you're grandfathered in with an ex where it's like, if you fuck your ex and you're both single on, like, Thanksgiving, who cares?
Yeah.
It doesn't count. You didn't add another. There's no new body. That doesn't, like, they're already in the tally marks. You're like, you can feel good about it. Like, I just need to, because the amount of time he said this has pissed me off. And now he just said something about New Year's.
Well, she asked for New Year's plans.
Yeah, and it's like, come on, bro.
But also, at the end of the day, like, your girlfriend is basically saying, hey, how am I supposed to trust you? Yeah. And we're slowly building, a little over a year, you're still building up a trust. And if you can't clearly set boundaries with other people and you're allowing this, what's the word, temptation maybe to be out there, or you're not being clear with this person and showing that you mean something to like she's important in your life, then he's gonna, every time you text, it's like, okay, when are you gonna tell this girl?
Allowing temptation is so right too, because it's like I'm trying to lose weight, but it's like somebody sent me some chocolate bars. They're in my house still. I've had chocolate in the last week.
You need to give them to your guests.
They need to go away. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you want some of Mr. Beast's chocolate?
You have two women on this show. We'll take
chocolate. But also, like, if you really care about your girlfriend, this shouldn't even be texted to you. Like, this is easy. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Like, why can't you see that you should do, like, what your girlfriend wants?
Fully. Well, I think to his credit, I think let's let him finish, because I do think he's asking, how do I go about it? I was so pissed that the interjections of how naive he was being, that I just felt like I need to call that out before answering his question.
She wants me to have a nice Christmas. He said, Jesus be with you.
Yeah, she's very religious. Let's finish this up here, Eldo.
She recently texted me and asked, "Oh, what are your New Year's plans? Hey, what are your New Year's plans?" She texted me that on New Year's Eve. And I saw that I still, 3 days later, I still haven't responded to it. And I see this text and I'm like, look, you're just trying to get attention, I think. Like,
wow,
I
you don't
finally,
say.
Opened my eyes to it.
That's what it took.
Trying to get attention at this point.
Maybe he's just a dumb guy.
What should I do? What's the, I guess, easiest way to, set boundaries with this person? What's the best course of action I can take here? Should I simply set boundaries? Should I burn the bridge? Thank you for your help, Stavvy.
This might be his first relationship.
One other thing,
that's true.
Please come to Flappers Comedy Club in Burbank, California.
That's all he really
I
wanted.
can promise you that will never happen. If I'm in Flappers, bro, shit's gone bad for me.
I'm in Flappers. April 13th. Flappers. Everybody on the left side needs money.
Yes.
Some of us don't have Netflix specials.
Go see that. They'll be at Flappers. Come on.
Here you go.
Yeah.
You can have the new fan list.
So how does he go about it? I think the easiest thing, frankly, you don't he's not texting his exes this. I think the easiest thing to do is to even say, because here's the thing about these texts, the other person maintains plausible deniability when they send them. They're not. You can't be like. You can't be like, stop trying to fuck me, bitch. I have a girlfriend, right? Because it's just like, because then it's just like, hey, I'm just trying to be nice.
I just wanted to say hi.
Right.
But you can not to say you can throw your girlfriend under the bus, but you can do it in kind of a nice way. You can be like, you literally can be like, hey, I wish you all the best, but I think the frequency of your text messages is making my girlfriend uncomfortable, and I don't want to hurt or hinder this relationship by continuing to talk. I think it's best if we kind of, stop talking.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
you could definitely say that. I personally, go ahead, Carmen.
No, I was going to say you don't even have to bring up your girlfriend and be like, I don't feel comfortable. This is not what I do. Like, just put it on yourself. This is not what I do, and we need to stop doing this.
I honestly, truly think, because he said the New Year's one is the first one he hasn't responded to. To me,
if he just
the answer is don't respond.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. Right. Like, this is not someone in your life. Delete her. Like, just, you could even block her if you really wanted to, and just whatever. It's like yes, burn the bridge, bro. Because if you're not burning the bridge, you are keeping that like toe in the. You're keeping like. You're just keeping an eye on the backup plan for this relationship.
And that's what your girlfriend is sensing.
Exactly.
Is that if you really were 100% into this relationship, you wouldn't keep this door open.
Yes, and I think because from my view, having the conversation almost elevates what's going on here. It almost makes it more serious than it is. Like being like, hey, we need to stop texting. Is almost like, it's not, because he, a little bit to his credit, even though he's naive, he has been kind of like, he's not really responding, whatever, but it's like...
Oh, I forgot he's 28. He's a baby.
Yeah, he's not...
Yeah, but still,
he's old enough to not do this bullshit.
But 28. But if this is his second relationship, he's 28. If he dated this girl for a couple of years and now he's with this girl, like, my brother's 28. He's a dum-dum.
Yeah. That's fair. I would personally just stop responding.
But the only annoying thing with that, is really fast, is that then they'll go like, why aren't you responding? I've had that where they're like, why aren't you responding? And it's like, can't you get a hint? Like, I'd rather just
respond to that. Like, that's, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Just say it and then stop.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, on that same effect, I'm very anxious. And so I had a breakup, like one of the worst breakups I had, one of like my first relationship breakup. Mm-hmm. And he broke up with me, but like whenever he would get drunk, he would be like, hey. Right. And I couldn't not respond to him. So the best thing that I did is it was the same response. So he'd be like, you were my best girlfriend, everything I would just be like, thank you so much. I wish you and your family well. and I never.
That's so awesome.
That's worse than no response.
I know. That's your dad. Exactly. And I wouldn't deviate from it. So for 3 months, like once a month for 3 months, and I was single, I was heartbroken. I really, truly loved him.
Good for you, yeah.
But he was fucking with me, and so I couldn't not text him, but I kept it to a script, and I never deviated, and he got the hint after 3 months.
Interesting.
So that's the other thing is if you just want to be like, Merry Christmas, but or you just like, you keep it so flat that they get nothing from it.
And the other thing to also realize, like, he's made, like, it seems like it's finally gotten through his dumb skull that these are not innocuous texts, It seems like he's finally understanding that. And by the way, if you haven't, let this be the time we're telling you these are not innocuous texts. But the other thing is, like, ultimately, these are 3 options that you can take. And I think what you should do is, because this is to prove to your current girlfriend that you have her back, ask her how she'd like you to proceed, right? Like be like, look, I don't want to talk to this girl at all. If it was up to, like, if I was in the situation, I wouldn't be, because I'm not a fucking idiot. I'm not gonna like keep texting her back if I'm in a relationship. But if I was, what I would say is, hey, I think what I would like to do is just like stop responding to her. I don't really want to I don't want to elevate this, because it does. From my perspective, it was innocent. Like, I'm just gonna stop responding to her. I'll even block her number if you want. But would you prefer that I tell her? Like, would you prefer that I say, "Hey, I appreciate these texts, but I think it's better to like, I'm just kind of in a relationship. I think we should kind of cool it on these texts. They're a little too frequent." For where we are in each other's lives, like, we're not together anymore, and it's a little much for me. Or so I think, like, you have to ask her what she would like, because again, personally, I'm on team just stop responding. She'll get the message. But to each his own, and ultimately, you want to make your current girlfriend feel secure here. So
yeah, that's a good point too. Like, he needs to reframe how he's thinking about it, because it's not about like sparing his ex's feelings. It's like, how does he make his like girlfriend not uncomfortable?
Exactly. Yeah. That's the goal here. Fuck your ex is done, dude. That's the thing. That's why they're exes. And you're right, Liz. Maybe even though he's 28, you're right. Maybe if he didn't have his first relationship till he was like 24, and they broke up when he was like 26, and like it's only like this woman could have a place of outsized importance in his head, but like, yeah, you need to start thinking of it in those terms of like making your current girlfriend comfortable.
And that's for me. Like I'm still friends with one of my exes, and I see him every time. Me and my sister go get lunch with him when I'm in LA. And so even 2 months into my current relationship, I was like, hey, this is a little early to do this, but I'm just always very honest. I'm gonna go get lunch with my ex.
Right.
Like, do you have any questions? You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? But like, it's from 10 years ago.
How's your family?
Yeah.
Right.
This is not somebody that, ripped my heart out of my chest. But like me and my sister are still close with him. We always get lunch. You know what I mean? I see him once a year. But like the same thing back when now we're together. We've been together 7 months, and he was going to LA, and he's like, I'm going to go, I think, get lunch or dinner with one of my exes. I just want to let you know. Cool. So now it's like you're not hiding it. You know what it is. If you have any he's told me about this ex. Like she's feeling insecure when you're upfront about stuff and you let people know what level, let them ask questions. Like he knows exactly how I feel about my ex. He's a friend. Right. We talk once a year.
Of course. Yeah. No, totally. And again, there's a little immaturity here of like just not being, A, not understanding what those texts are from an ex, and B, just not being open about it. Like, it seems like his girlfriend, like, caught him texting her almost is what it feels like. Yeah. And look, is your current girlfriend maybe a little too sensitive about this? That's a possibility too. Because if he just is dumb, like, and not picking up on the hints, then he almost could plead innocent due to reasons of being stupid. You know what I mean?
But as like a woman, you don't know.
But guys are also they'll get messages and think it's nothing. Like whereas like women tend to be like, what's that about?
Because we're sending these messages.
Right.
I'm like, Merry Christmas. She's like, hey, I've sent a Merry Christmas text.
But either way, even if she's a little too sensitive and you're a little too dumb about it, what's important is to make her feel comfortable. Yeah, exactly. Good luck, little buddy. What else we got, Eldis?
I liked your jacket off.
Hey, so my friend is a comedian.
Okay.
And
hang up on this guy, please.
Is it us?
A new comedian. And I don't know. I'll get right into it. Just like I just started seeing a new girl, and he just like keeps making jokes about wanting to fuck her.
Oh my god!
And I guess I just want advice on like.
What?
Like, we have kind of a relationship where we kind of make fun of each other and make jokes like that, but like he's probably been a joke like that every time I've seen him since he met this girl. So like I don't want to be too, it's like it's fair enough to make one or two jokes like that, but I guess I just want advice on like how not to harsh the vibe too much, but it's becoming like disrespectful without me saying it. Yeah, instead you're a comedian. How would you like talk to your friend if they're making?
First of all, me and your friend are not the same. All right, don't even fucking. Your friend and the people on this show have nothing in common. We were at some point going back to your friend is the guys we were talking about in those shitty bars in Baltimore that were on these shows. It's like an open mic It's like these guys who do 3 open mics and they're like, I should be able to shout the N-word whenever I want because it's my freedom of speech. So let's take the comedian aspect out of it. Let's let him finish actually before I really get rolling.
Fuck your girlfriend all the time. And like she's a writer and like he'll do like I'll mention like a book she's reading to him, and he'll be like, "Oh well, I read that book. Let her know that I think." And it's like, okay, so yeah.
God, this guy's friend sucks.
This is back to leave your friend.
Yeah.
You're all about just leave the person.
This is so crazy, and like
it's just a shitty friend.
He's just a dickhead. It's like, first of all, being a comedian. Actual comedians do not behave this way. Like, actual comedians aren't, like, always joking and can't turn it off. Like, this guy is a fucking loser. He's like, unless he's like, he's not. I don't know what I'm saying. Unless he's kind of successful, he's not. For sure, he's not. He's probably, like, a starting comic who's, like, people who take this too far. So I'm just going to say for real, like, we were joking earlier, but truly, take the comedian thing out of it because it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah,
he's just being a shitty
person,
friend,
and he should like. So I don't know if he's laughing every time or if he's said something, but you have to be like, hey man, you got to stop. Like, like it's. I don't find it funny.
Yeah,
it makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah,
and. Who cares? It's so funny where he's like, I don't want to hurt the vibe, and it's like, well, it's a bad vibe.
He's fucking the vibe up.
Yeah, hurt the vibe. His vibe sucks.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I think it's Chris Rock.
Yeah,
I'm getting that
vibe. Yeah, dude. This is just a shitty friend, and you can just be like, all right, man, just stop talking about this shit.
Yeah, the friend is like such a loser because there's nothing worse than like getting to the point where you need to tell your guy friend like, hey man, can you chill with those jokes? Like,
oh, it's brutal.
It's like if it ever gets to that point, like you guys just aren't clearly not on the same page whatsoever.
Right. And his friend is so diabolically horny that he is fucking up one of the most sacred things in the world, which is saying the most fucked up things to your friends. Like, me and Elders will joke about horrific things, right? Like we'll talk about fucking near and dear members of each other's families in despicable ways, right? I have never even considered telling Elders to calm down a little bit. You know what I mean? Like the fact that that's even in the that's even possible means that your friend is the one not reading the vibe. Your friend is the one not reading the room, and so. You clearly have some kind of self-esteem shit going on here, because the fact that you're worried about how telling a guy who's not even really joking about, basically you're worried about, hey man, am I going to come off weird if I tell my friend to stop mentioning that he wants to fuck my girlfriend? Do you understand that? That's insane.
He's worried about offending an open micer.
This is like, and in terms of what you say to him, it's just like, hey man, you gotta fucking chill. You gotta stop talking about my girlfriend like that. Like you're being weird. You're being a loser, which is what's going on here. And then if he says something like, dude, you can't take a joke, never speak to that guy again. Never speak to him again. Lose his number. Like, what does he think is gonna happen? Like he's just gonna like charm. He's like, well, if he just brings his girlfriend to an open mic, all my rape and transphobic jokes are gonna really sell her. I know this guy's act right now, dude. I know exactly what his fucking jokes are. So yeah, dude, this guy's a piece of shit. I mean, like, just knowing this kind of guy, spending all of my youth surrounded by exactly who you're talking about. Maybe I'm a little triggered here by how many horrible green room conversations I've had to have with this exact kind of fucking guy, but you gotta be firm with him and be like, all right, man, you gotta stop fucking doing this shit. And also, you need to start standing up for yourself, man. This is like a general thing here. Because if you're even worried about this, you're a little too wishy-washy, a little too people-pleasy. It's hard, I get that, but you can't, because this guy's
again a good friend. If you go, hey man, cut the shit, and he's like,
all right, my bad. Yeah, like that's the thing. Sometimes a friend can go over the top and be like, all right,
for sure. I mean, I think as comics, we've all been like, that was too far, and somebody goes, hey man, don't, and you're like, it was your mom. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said that. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I just say my favorite part about this whole thing is that the transcription cannot figure out what your name
never
is.
said stop.
It's like Dobby, Bobby,
yeah, I know.
Simon. It's like it's all over the place.
It's almost fun. We discussed this on another episode too. It's almost fun that like it's a shitty AI, because now AI is getting so scary where it's like it almost feels good that Google doesn't know how to spell my name.
Yeah,
it's like because they could easily just spy on my email. So
and they're like, hold on, what did it stop?
The day they get Stavvy right is the day I'm like, we are fucked.
Yeah, but I'm just looking at it and it's just like Billy Bob, Stavvy. I was like, Bobby, is that his nickname?
Go ahead, Eldest. Give us another non-open micer related question.
Is it always all about dating?
It's a lot of dating. Sometimes there's family stuff.
Okay.
We'll get random ones, but it's a lot of dating, friendship. Like
I feel like you should have given him a heads up. I could have talked about cats. They'll be like, my cat's puking on my carpet.
That is true.
And I'd be like, okay, let me tell you.
This next one is actually a caller update, kind of, from, do you remember the call on the Ari episode? The guy who took his friend to a bathhouse and the friend didn't want to pay him $40.
Yes, because he said it was too gay. Yeah. So there was a guy who they made plans to go to, like, a Russian bath, but they actually accidentally went on gay night. And his friend was like, dude, those guys were trying to jerk me off. I'm not paying you $40. I'm not paying. And the guy fronted him, and our clear ruling was, if you front someone for like anything and they don't have a good time, that's not your fault. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's crazy to not pay you. So anyway,
that's like going to a movie and being like, I didn't like
the movie was bad, so I'm not paying my ticket.
So this update is actually a call from that friend.
Wow, we're getting his perspective. This is awesome.
Oh, they got your name pretty right.
Hey, what's going on, Stavvy? Long-time listener, first-time caller. I'm actually, I'm the guy's friend from that bathhouse story that I heard about the other day. I mean, I get that he pays for your Patreon, but before you side with the money, hear me out. Sorry, I'm driving. Mind you, this friend of mine is a little bit more adventurous, I'll say. Okay. All the time, you got to be a little bit careful of where you let him take you.
Pause this. You have to be careful. You have to be careful where he take you. So go ahead. That's your first mistake. You're telling me like you gave a guy money that's not that reliable. Again, if I type my fucking credit card into a fucking weird website that promises me to sell me a fucking Vitamix for $30 and then it steals my fucking information, that's on me. So anyway, strike one on you. Keep going, Eldis.
Of where you let him take you. You might end up like at a dog restaurant or at a gay spa or anything.
A gay spa, sure.
Not homophobic or anything. After a college football game, I think there were some other activities I was looking to spend my afternoon with. The fact of the matter is, I think it was more of an entrapment situation.
Oh my God.
He made it seem like everything would be okay. And then I was in a very small room full of 70, 80, 90-year-old cock and balls. And on top of it, when we left, a stranger approached my window and asked for gay sex. If that makes me homophobic, you can call me Kid Rock.
It does, by the way. You're Kid Rock. You're in a traditionally gay place, and a guy... Now, did the guy grab your cock, or was he polite about wanting to fuck you? It's like, the guy just was forward with you about sex. He probably treated you the way you treat women at a bar.
I was about to say, like, it's always so funny when men are in this situation. I was like, oh, were you a little uncomfortable?
Yeah.
We're massively uncomfortable all the time.
Yeah, were you afraid the guy was going to follow you home and rape you? Anyway, keep going, Eldis.
Stingy, that kind of cut. I would consider myself more conservative, financially responsible, but whatever. As long as I've known him, known the kid probably 10 plus years at least. As long as I've known him, I think $40 is very justified for at least damages in the situation. In this economy, I mean, Joe Biden makes $40 barely enough to prove a point.
All right, we get it.
And
we get it. You're a MAGA guy.
That's what we're doing in this situation. And this isn't communist Russia. If I can't be homophobic with my boys, I don't know.
You can joke about being homophobic. You can't actually be homophobic. That's the whole point. You're literally not right here. You can't actually be hateful. That's what's fun about. And anyway, go ahead. Let's finish this.
But that's it. Love you, Stavvy. I digress. I just want to see your insight, because I think your answer was a little too woke for me.
No, you're a fucking stingy piece of shit. You yourself said this guy's the kind of guy who's a little too adventurous. So what you did was you trusted someone to pick out an activity, and that's your judgment being wrong. The second you agree to do this, the second he fronts you, you owe him that money. Just because you're a homophobic Republican doesn't mean that you don't owe him $40. You're a piece of shit. You have a weird friend, okay, and you agreed with it. Like Eldis likes a bunch of fucking dumb bullshit, right? If I went to if he described something I knew I wasn't gonna like, and he paid for the ticket, I was gonna go, right? Like I'd complain. Yeah. I'd complain the whole way. I was like, that movie sucked dick, Eldis. Yeah, but I would not give him the $20.
Yeah, you make him feel bad for at least a
you
couple
bully
of weeks.
him for being a bad friend.
Yeah.
Do you remember I took Liz to a musical?
I hate musicals.
And then at the very end of the movie, I go, "What'd you think?" Because it was a musical movie.
Yeah.
And she goes, "I hate musicals." And I'm like, "You could have told me."
Yeah.
But it's like I was just like, the whole time.
But even if you knew it was a musical and you agreed to go,
oh yeah, of course.
You know, like that's the thing. It's like you can throw as many as many little buzzwords as you want. You could do whatever you want. As many fucking little alt-right memes as you want to throw in here.
What are these damages though? You signed a contract? Like what are these?
And
damages?
by the way, that's a separate thing from you. By the way, what you do here is like if this guy has steered you wrong forever, then you stop being friends with them, or you only hang out in very specific contexts. You made a choice. How about this, buddy? You want to talk about this is in communist Russia, whatever. Take some personal responsibility. Stop looking for a fucking bailout. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Tell a gay guy you don't want to get sucked off by him and pay your friend $40 without fucking thinking the F slur in your head. Again, let me just highlight this. You're a welching piece of shit. You suck. Pay your friend the money and you have to take responsibility and just double check the activities you go on. Really, you have done nothing but make me hate you more. You're trying to be funny and it's not working. You're so clearly in the wrong. God, this guy sucks. All right.
So that's where all the 70, 80, and 90-year-olds hang out.
Yeah, look, no one wants to see, I like being in a sauna. I don't like seeing old guys' cocks, but I like the sauna. And whatever. The guy asked you for gay sex, like, grow up and be flattered, by the way. Next question, man. Yeah, that guy stinks. And your friend pays for the Patreon. You're a freeloader, it sounds like.
Do you live by a church?
Hi, Stavros.
I do.
The problem I have is actually with my best friend. So he lives with me in a room that's separate from the main house that's converted into like a studio apartment. And the problem we have is his room has gotten so bad. It's hoarder level bad, but with trash. Just trash everywhere. His mattress is even on top of trash.
That's brutal.
And I love him. We've been best friends for 12 years. I know he has a lot of mental health issues with depression and things like that. So I know it's not him just being a disgusting asshole. I know it's due to his mental health, but I have no idea how to approach the situation. Unfortunately, both of us are unable to afford like a dumpster to clean this whole room out, but I just have no idea what to do and no idea how to be sensitive to someone who I love and just has a lot of issues. Thanks.
Did she say it was her friend, roommate, or love, or
her
boyfriend?
friend.
Her best friend,
Okay.
and it's like almost like I think like almost like a converted garage.
Yeah.
He's got his own space, but
yeah.
he's still like, it seems to be her spot. I don't know. It's like she has the main house. He has like a studio apartment on the side, and he's just trashing it.
What I wonder is like because there's hoarders where everything is important and they can't throw it out, and there's depression where the act of actually doing anything feels like a mountain.
Yeah.
So it's like if it's depression, I think you can actually be like, can I help you and let's do this together? Like I actually think like it would, if he really is your best friend, it's like what can we do together and how can I be helpful so it doesn't get this bad again? If it's hoarding, which is a mental illness in itself, like that needs like therapy or like like there's something you genuinely need to do to try to fix that, like any kind of like OCD or whatever. Like I don't know what type of therapy, but there's like a type of therapy that helps with.
Yeah. And I think both of them are therapy. It's like, I definitely empathize with like, what do you do if a friend is like in the throes of mental illness and you can't, because I've definitely had friends who have like kind of been, and I get way messier when I'm depressed. And it's like, and that's a very satisfying day when I'm like, I wake up and I'm like, oh, I think today's the day I clean. When you're like, oh, sick. That doesn't seem insurmountable. It seems like the thing I want to do most in the world is like clean this shit up. So
I think she should just call Hoarders, that TV show.
Yeah. Is it good enough to get him on Hoarders? And if it's not, maybe zhuzh it up, get some weird baby dolls in there, get some like antiques, like kind of really. You're gonna need an angle for Hoarders, so maybe get him to shit in a couple buckets. Maybe get. So yeah, I mean, I think Liz, you're right in terms of like. Yeah, she says it's so bad though that she's talking about a fucking dumpster. Like that's what's crazy to me is like, is it literally too much trash to handle? That's what it seems like.
I mean, if it's trash under his mattress, that's massive therapy. Like he needs like an intervention. Type of thing.
Yeah.
You know?
What is his situation in terms of like mental health? Does he have a psychiatrist? Does he have like because I have when it's like sometimes one thing that's helped me when it's with friends of mine or family members of mine is like, first of all, I got everybody in my family into fucking therapy. So when it was shit that I couldn't handle, I was like, I think you need to talk to somebody. And I mean, is it the kind of thing where if you help him out and clean it, it's just going to get dirty as fuck again?
For sure. But I also wonder, like, if he's depressed and you kind of help him clean his space. I mean, like, I've been in situations where like people just kind of give up and you kind of go, hey, why don't we do it together? You know what I mean? And you kind of like a literal shoulder to lean on. And sometimes that kind of helps. Absolutely, it could go get disgusting again, but at the same time, like it must be probably pretty embarrassing for him, both his mental state and his surroundings, that to love somebody wholeheartedly, no matter what state they're in, is therapeutic in its own right.
Sure.
But I don't know. I mean, I do think it's going to be a community.
Yeah.
It's going to be a community effort.
Yeah.
Or hear me out. Get a pig.
Oh yeah.
Eat all the trash.
Eat all the trash.
Yeah. Get a goat. Get a pig. Convert it. Start charging people.
I like that.
Have a garage sale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With all that trash.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I would just say do what you can. I think if you can help, but like you're talking about a dumpster, like is it just enough? Can you get rid of it some other way? Like you said, you can't afford the dumpster, but you're gonna have to clean his space at some point.
Yeah, if you move out.
And it's only gonna get worse if he's not getting help. So you might as well do it now.
Yeah, and it's like, can you guide him towards some help? Is he already in therapy? Does he have meds? Like, personally, I find a little Adderall helps me clean my room like nothing else.
That's what this guy needs.
This guy needs maybe. Oh fuck! Dropped my phone. He might. So yeah, I don't know. I think it is a two-pronged thing of like you're gonna want to make an effort and like just kind of see if you can be like, hey, I want to help you with this and like, can we get you on the right foot? And then, but yeah, if he is. You say he has a lot of mental health issues. Is he actively taking care of them? Is he like, because that is the long-term thing. And that's also the thing where you can be like, you can give him a nudge to get in there and then like let an actual professional deal with it.
Yeah, because you want to help, but you also sometimes you don't want to what's that word when you actually do the worst thing by helping them too much?
Enable.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of tough love, but also friendship.
Yeah, for sure. And I think you can start with friendship. Like I think you could be like, this sucks. Let's get through it together.
Let's clean it up a little bit here. And like, if you can't have you say you can't have a dumpster, but it's like, that seems to me like a kind of small limiting factor. Like, do you have a friend with a truck that can take stuff to the dump? Can you just like pile up the trash in the garage and like every trash day throw in like, it might be like, it might take a bag month, a day. But yeah, do a bag a day, something like that. I think, it might help to just start with like, but it does feel like he has to get he'll feel better in a clean space too. But
yeah, for sure.
The two-pronged attack of like a little friendship, a little therapy, make sure he's taking care of his shit, and then maybe leaning on more friends, maybe making more of a community effort, like
maybe a little bit of a pig.
Yeah, get a small pig, a teacup pig.
Little piglet.
Just experiment, and if that works, get an even bigger pig.
Yeah.
You got something fun for us to go out on here, Eldis?
Yeah.
And gals, one more time, let's plug the specials before we go. We're gonna do this one, then get out of here. So, where can people follow you? Where can they see the specials?
Please check out Queef Week.
Hell yeah!
It's on Mark Norman's YouTube channel. It's been out for about 2 months, and it's past 300K. I forgot
so
why.
Good.
Very good special.
And then the Spanish one is already out in Spain only, but it comes on YouTube in May. So please check out my YouTube channel, subscribe, and you'll see my Spanish special. And all my socials are at Carmen Comedian, and all my tour dates are at carmenlynch.com.
Nice.
My special is called Murder Sheets. Watch it. I have a bunch of other specials on my YouTube channel, and I'm touring, and that's all I got. Everything's at Liz Miele.
Let's do it. Yeah, follow her, watch the specials, and here let's take us out here, Eldis.
Hey Stavvy. Hey Eldis. Hello, esteemed guest. Eldis, that's awesome that you're 6'6", and I give my left nuticle to be that tall. It's freaking awesome.
He's just telling you it's cool you're tall.
Generic guy in his 40s. Wondering what your opinion was about men that dye their hair. Getting some gray. Not that anybody cares what I look like, but just wondering what you thought about dyeing hair, and also what is your opinion on plugs. Kind of expensive, kind of a stupid thing to do, but I don't know. The older I get, the more it sounds pretty good. Thanks for the advice. Love the show.
Wow, this one is so simple.
I know. This guy's so insecure. It's awesome. Where he's like, dude, that's so cool. You're tall, Eldis. I'm bald and I'm gray.
Yeah, these short, bald guys are fucking pathetic.
Yeah, I suppose a guy like that would be pretty pathetic.
Do what you want.
Yeah, interesting.
Is hair plugs still a thing?
They're good. Yeah, they're out there.
No, there's definitely hair plugs, but we know a couple of comics. They've done the thing where they take the little bit of hair that you do have and they kind of replant it.
Mateo's done it. He's talked about it a lot. Soder's done it.
I think Andy Haynes did.
Andy, yep.
But that's not. You can't see the plugs.
No,
they're just better though.
They're replanting your hair.
Yeah. And if you're gonna get plugs, do get expensive ones. Do not fucking cut corners on something like that.
Yeah, I will. Absolutely, because I'm a 6 foot tall woman.
And you get the bird's eye view.
I've seen bad hair plugs, and let me tell you, that conversation is very awkward because you want to look. You know, it's like a bad glass eye. You want to look.
Yeah. Bad glass eye, weird breasts, weird rock hard breast implants, any kind of thing you're doing, or fucked up BBL. If you're gonna do it, those are out. A lot of those are around right now. But if you're gonna do it, you gotta go whole hog with it.
Oh, there's also, I love those videos where it's like almost like a sticker.
Yeah,
I love those.
I know.
And they look really good. Dude, I definitely follow a guy that's like, he does it to like help a lot of like kids that like aren't, but like he does it for adults too. And I'm just like, yo, I want sticker hair.
What is it? It's like a sticker with hair on it.
So
it's basically like a crazy toupee.
Yeah, but like,
what happens on a humid day though? Does it unstick?
No. They got real sticky stuff out there.
It's real and you have to replace them.
They got AI stickiness.
You have to replace them a lot, I feel like.
Yeah, but regardless,
they slide down and they become a
sideburn.
A sideburn.
But my thing is always like, do whatever you need to do to feel confident.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but be
good about it.
Be good about it.
Totally.
Don't be a dum dum.
That's the thing. It's like people think that making these will also just make you a more confident person, and that's just not true.
No.
Like you gotta start believing in yourself first, and then if you want to sprinkle a couple things that'll like help, they'll help. But this guy's clearly like he is insecure. He's like, he seems to be. My guess, we got a guy in his like 40s who's single, thinks he's a little too short, worried about like he wasn't doing well before, and now he's like, oh my God, even the ground underneath me is eroding. What I had is leaving me. I'm gray. I'm bald. Like, so, buddy, like, what are my thoughts on it? I don't really give a fuck. My favorite thing to do is to just succeed in spite of every obstacle God has thrown my way. So I take it as a badge of honor to be able to like have the more fucked up things about me, the better. I think it's funny to be like on paper seem horrific, and then like people just think like in person no one feels that way. But I understand that's pretty high difficulty, and not a lot of people are like that, take that pride in that. So If you want to dye your hair, dye it. If you want to get plugs, get them. But don't cut corners is my only thing. If you're going to do it.
Yeah, and find your inner hair plugs. Like, look on the inside. Those hair plugs count first.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I do think there's a little bit of, you need to believe in yourself first and foremost. And like this stuff can be like the cherry on top. But,
do it to feel good, not as a way to hide something.
Yeah,
because after he gets the hair plugs,
he's gonna want to break his legs, be sick.
Yeah, but he is. He's gonna be like, now I want to get rid of that mole on my face and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, it is interesting. What do you guys feel about gray hair? How does it?
I like that salt and pepper.
Yeah, I really like.
I think it looks cool. I honestly think it does look cool on both men and women. I think it's
especially. I actually
cool
like
look.
a salt and pepper beard.
Yeah.
I think it's
so. It's like and even like losing your hair. It's like, dude, look at the world. Like none of this stuff is insurmountable, right? And it's so clearly about your self-esteem first. So yeah, that's our. Usually it's so funny. Usually we get like 20-year-old kids who don't believe in themselves. This is our first 40-year-old guy who doesn't believe in himself.
Also, why can't he go what are
the Buzz?
Yeah, why can't he go full bald action hero?
Do you like the shape of your head?
My guess is he's not built like an action hero.
Okay.
That's part of it. Which is another thing. It's like I like sometimes I like whatever you're gonna do. Like sometimes I tell people. We're a very body positive show here, obviously, but sometimes I tell people go fucking work out or lose weight or whatever, because there's just something to, or even gaining a new skill, because there's something about feeling yourself making incremental progress that just feels good and fires up that confidence. And then especially when it happens to also aid the way you look, which is a hang up for so many people. Sometimes it is that simple of dude, do some stuff. You want to get plugs, you want to dye your hair. Could you just work out? Would you maybe feel an even bigger benefit from the exercise and from the, whatever. I've worked out even when I wasn't losing weight, and it was like early in the tour, I worked out like a motherfucker because it was just I needed it for my mental health. Yeah. And so there's stuff like that where it's I would say think about that kind of stuff, dude, because you're clearly a little hung up on your appearance. And for somebody in your predicament, I would say actually focusing on exercise might kind of be a double-edged sword of you will feel better. I mean, first of all, you'll feel better because of the chemicals, but also you'll feel better about making progress in something, and the thing you're making progress towards will also make you look traditionally more attractive, which seems to be a hang-up for you. So
just don't become a comedian.
Don't start doing open mic. Don't be a divorced open micer. Yeah. One of the most pathetic types of guys to be. But yeah, that's gonna do it for us. Thanks for coming. That was such a fun episode. Go watch the specials. Leave us a nice review if you haven't. You know what I think we should start doing all this? I think we should start reading 5-star reviews. And I know we've booked so far in ahead that it's going to take we're not going to be able to start doing this till May somehow. But I think we need to start giving some nice incentives, because we've never tried to make this podcast successful. It's just we just kind of put it out there, and it's been doing pretty good. But give us some nice reviews, and please subscribe to the YouTube channel, or subscribe to iTunes, Spotify if you listen the other way. But we appreciate it, and we'll see you next time, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.